Welcome, welcome. Hello, everybody. It's great to see you here today. Come on into the room. I'll wait a few minutes while you guys show up. And yeah, it's great to see you. We've got a cold, wintry day here, the 1st of February, 2025. And that's exciting. Here in Keene, the ice festival or snow festival or something like that is going on. So downtown, everything's bustling. And we had fresh snow last night, so that was like really exciting and appropriate. So just cozy in the office here and getting ready to talk about Klotho. Klotho, which I knew nothing about until, as usual, a good customer, a regular of ours here at the shop asked me about it a few weeks ago. So I said, well, I have to check that out. And I did. So we're going to talk about that today. Klotho. I think of it kind of like, it's not the same, but I think of it sort of in the same, it's something we make ourselves, like glutathione, like melatonin, like palmitoyl ethanolamide, like cannabinoids. It's something endogenous to us that we make ourselves. But higher levels, like with those other things, are associated with better health, and lower levels are associated with more disease. It's the same thing with Klotho. But Klotho is a protein. Again, I had never heard of it. Looks like you guys are pretty well there. I'm going to find first, just open up my page. Okay, and then I might as well just go ahead and share my screen. Again, to participate, you can raise your hand and I will call on you and you can talk, or you can type in the chat or type in the Q&A and I see those and will respond. Probably not by typing, but by answering. And then also, I would like to say, you're welcome to talk about like anything besides Klotho. So if you have questions or anything else you want to bring up, go ahead. That's what I love about this. Is just, this is the main topic today, but we can talk about anything. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to share my screen. Share. Oh, I suppose before I do that, I'll stop my share for a second. I should introduce myself in case you might be watching for the first time. You might not have don't even know who I am. So my name is Becky Montrone. We have a practice here. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition, and I'm also an herbalist. So we have, I have a practice and a shop here called Wondrous Roots, and here I see clients in private consultation for every kind of health condition. I see people of all ages. I see them here locally in Keene, New Hampshire, on the 3rd floor of the Miller Forge building, 103 Roxbury Street. So in person, or I see people this way, Zoom, teleconference, or by phone, whatever is appropriate for and works best for the individual, but distance is no obstacle when it comes to working with me. Our phone here is 603-439-2603. Our open shop and practice hours are 9:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. We also have a full online store with all of our various products, and you can find that at shopwondrousroots.com. My other website is wondrousroots.org. You can get easily from one to the other. That's more of an informational and educational resource. And what did I want to say about that? You can also contact me if you want to. You can call the office, or you can reach out from Contact Us. That comes to my private email, and then I will respond to you. Okay, I think that's it by way of intro. So let's find out about Klotho with a K. Okay. Share my screen. There you guys all set up where I can see you. Takes me just a second, pardon me. That way, if you type into the chat or raise your hand or something, I can hopefully notice. Okay. All right, so here I am on, this is when you go to wondrousroots.org, learn, you see a lot of pages being added here. And this is the latest one, Klotho. I'm just going to kind of move through this, maybe get this where it's more, let me see here. Stop. Okay, I'm just going to shrink my window down a little bit too. I think that's good. Okay. Okay. So Klotho, here we go, the science, is a transmembrane and circulating protein that plays a key role in aging and longevity. That looks so cool, doesn't it? It functions as a co-receptor for fibroblast growth factor, regulating phosphate and calcium metabolism. Okay, so it's involved in those minerals. But it also has independent antioxidant. We know how important those are, anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects. We talk about those things all the time here. Higher levels of Klotho are associated with extended lifespan, enhanced cognitive function, so your brain power, preventing brain diseases and that, age-reduced and reduced age-related degeneration. While it's decline with age, it declines with age, right? So like glutathione, like melatonin, like mitochondrial energy, and these things, and our hormonal reserves, all of these things begin to decline as we get older. So again, what do we do? We say, well, how can I have that not decline so fast, or make it increase, or yeah. So that's like the anti-aging approach to life, is taking those things that are healthy when we're young and extending them and keeping those levels up, whatever it might be, as we get older. So this fits right in there. While its decline with age contributes to oxidative stress, inflammation, and tissue damage, researchers are exploring ways to boost Klotho expression as a potential anti-aging strategy. The person who called my attention to it is particularly concerned about her kidneys, and she had found out about this when looking for natural kind of things as they relate to kidney health, and we'll see that in a few minutes. So this is a good little poster. Klotho affects neurodegenerative diseases. Here, the heart and the arterial system, the cardiovascular system, arterial calcification, high blood pressure, heart enlargement, cardiac hypertrophy, and fibrosis, myocardial ischemia, infarction. So we're talking there, could be stroke or heart attack. Tumor suppression and cancer. Relating to that, and also to the immune system in general, we're soon to find. Pulmonary fibrosis, the lungs, very, and COPD, so lung health is involved here. Really, basically, like everything. Kidney, chronic kidney disease, renal fibrosis, osteoporosis, and also the whole musculoskeletal system, so including your muscles and your tendons and all of that. And then diabetic kind of things, insulin regulation. So right there, you basically have an illustration of the major degenerative chronic diseases that we know of today. And so again, anything we can do, again, the big emphasis on chronic disease and how do we deal with chronic diseases that are really plaguing our population. And so I have a few things here, just kind of an overview of how these Klotho affects these different areas. So number one is brain health. Low Klotho is linked to and cognitive function. So low Klotho is linked to neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's, and cognitive decline. Reduced levels contribute to oxidative stress, neuroinflammation, and impaired synaptic plasticity. Okay, so the ability of the brain cells to regenerate, that brain plasticity that is so important for the brain to heal and retain its health, but also plasticity, we think of repair. Increasing Klotho improves memory, enhances cognitive resilience, and offers neuroprotection against conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Even in people with genetic risk factors, higher Klotho levels correlate with better brain function. So that right there, that goes into the information on both Parkinson's, my Parkinson's page, my Alzheimer's page, those PDFs. Very, very interesting slant, and another thing to support. Klotho is something to support. You can't take like a Klotho supplement. So when we get down towards the end of this today, I'll talk about ways that we can help boost Klotho production, but it's not, I do want to look and see, there might be targeted supplements that are designed for boosting Klotho. So we'll take a look at that too. I think we'll have a few minutes because this isn't a terribly long presentation. So anyway, and then you can see here, we've got it quoted. So the findings with regard to this in this particular study. So there's Klotho deficiency is associated with cognitive impairment and the development of age-related diseases. Serum Klotho levels decline with advanced age and conditions like chronic kidney disease, highlighting its potential diagnostic significance. So this page is here. You can always go and take a look at that. Cardiovascular health. Low Klotho increases arterial stiffness, raises the risk of high blood pressure, and accelerates atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. It also disrupts calcium metabolism, leading to vascular calcification. So that's when we get down and we see the area with the musculoskeletal system in the bones, right? This is often, why do we use like vitamin K2 along with D3? Because a big part of heart disease is that calcification in the soft tissues, instead of having that calcium getting into the bones. So you've got it floating around in the soft tissues where you don't want it, and you have it not penetrating the bone tissue where you want it. And so Klotho plays a role there. And that is really a big feature with cardiovascular disease is soft tissue calcification. Increased Klotho, when you have more Klotho, it enhances your endothelial function, so your arteries are nice and supple. You reduce inflammation. Inflammation is what causes damage to the endothelium, which then causes you to have to form plaque to patch up that damage. Protects against heart disease, hypertension, high blood pressure, and stroke. Also improves circulation by regulating nitric oxide production. And what I like about that is it regulates nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide has become sort of all of the rage in some circles in alternative health and supplements and all of that kind of thing. People think more nitric oxide, the more the better. Not so. Nitric oxide has its place, and then it needs to pull back and it needs to be regulated. So apparently Klotho has a role in that regard, in that regard. So implications of Klotho in vascular health and disease. Klotho improves endothelial dysfunction through the promotion of NO production and mediates the anti-inflammatory nitric oxide production, and anti-aging effects such as suppression of adhesion molecules expression, attenuation of nuclear factor kappa B, or inhibition of WNT signaling. Furthermore, this protein is related to the attenuation of vascular calcification. We were just talking about that, as well as the prevention of cardiac hypertrophy, or enlargement of the heart, which can come with age. The expression of this protein in the vascular wall implies a new scenario for the treatment of vascular disorders. The purpose of this review is to provide an overview of the relationship between the Klotho protein and cardiovascular disease, in addition to its role in the maintenance of functional vascular integrity. And there, if you see some photo, there's just the abstract there. But I mean, that's really wonderful. Again, supporting one protein in our body and making sure that we're trying to make sure that that stays elevated and we have more of it affects many things. So it's, again, a root. It's a wondrous root. And then these things we're talking about right here are the branches. So kidney function and detoxification. Low Klotho is strongly linked to chronic kidney disease and renal fibrosis. So renal fibrosis is like, oh gosh, you would think of like cirrhosis of the liver, right? It's like it'd be the tissue becomes fibrous. Kidney dysfunction can further reduce Klotho, creating a vicious cycle. So you've got low Klotho might be what's behind playing a role in your kidney problems, but then having kidney disease, it brings down your Klotho level. So Klotho, to me, I think in my whole overview of this, I would say kidney is we're always looking for things for kidney, people with kidney issues, and we use things like sulforaphane and glutathione, very, very important. But it looks like, supporting Klotho production would be very key here and could make a difference. And here the study tells us that secreted Klotho functions as a humoral factor that inhibits acute kidney injury, vascular calcification, again in the kidneys, renal fibrosis, so the hardening of that organ, and cancer metastasis, the spreading of cancer in a blah 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 independent manner. Klotho deficiency, so when it's low, induces resistance to this pathway and predisposition to phosphate retention, a critical feature in the pathophysiology of chronic kidney disease, right? So high phosphate can always be something. So it helps with that calcium phosphate. We saw that up here, regulating phosphate and calcium metabolism, right? Okay, so it's good for your kidneys, it's good for your heart, your cardiovascular system, it's good for your brain. I like it. Bone and joint health. So low Klotho disrupts the calcium phosphorus balance, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and joint degeneration. It's also linked to arthritis and skeletal fragility, so brittle bones. Increased Klotho promotes bone strength and density, reduces inflammation, and may help in conditions like osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So that's really wonderful. Again, disrupts the calcium phosphorus balance, low Klotho. And then, of course, a lot of people's diets are very much phosphorus dominant. Like soda is a very high phosphorus beverage. So people who drink soda a lot, I'm just pointing that out. It's not really an in-depth analysis of what kinds of what promotes phosphorus overload. But anyway, it does very much influence kidney problems. And then also we see in the bone and joint health, which again is the good thing. Like I always say, this is good because it's like one thing. You don't have to, we do have a lot of different things, right? I mean, I take a lot of different things, but they're all root-based. And so when I take my, oh gosh, what do I want to say? When I take my PEA, my palmitoyl ethanolamide, it's helping my gut, it's helping my brain, it's helping my nerves, it would help my pain if I had pain. It's helping my immune system be balanced, so it's fighting cancer and all kinds of things. So you do one thing that just blossoms into all of these things, and this is the key with Klotho. It's not a protein that just centers on one organ system, if you will. Okay, so from this, again, the Klotho proteins in health and disease, Klotho, and again, you can click on that to see the study, but the Klotho proteins are essential components of endocrine fibroblast growth factor receptor complexes, governing multiple metabolic processes, including mineral metabolism. FGF23, we keep seeing this, secreted by osteocytes, so those are bone cells, binds to a alpha Klotho EGFR complex in renal tubules, in the kidney tubules, to regulate mineral metabolism impacting bone health. So you see that the renal tubules, so you're kind of like Klotho is working through the kidneys here to actually influence bone and joint health. Immune function and activation. So low Klotho increases chronic inflammation, contributes to autoimmune disorders, and weakens immune response to infections. And then increased Klotho acts as an anti-inflammatory and immunomodulatory factor, improving immune resilience and reducing excessive immune activation. So that means balancing the Th1, Th2 response of the immune system, if you will. So we need Th1 in order to combat things that are out there that we might catch, right? There are other ones like Th17 as well, but we won't go into those. But Th1 tends to be you're fighting something. Th2 is the balancer to making sure that that doesn't get out of line, if you will, if it get out of balance, and so that you're not creating like an autoimmune condition in your body. And so the Th1, Th2 balance is good. So this would pertain to immune function and activation, would pertain not only to helping you prevent catching things that are going around, but also balancing the immune system so that you are, or if it would be good for somebody to increase if they had an autoimmune illness, but then also helping prevent autoimmune illnesses to take hold. So again, this goes back to the pathobiology of the Klotho anti-aging protein and therapeutic considerations. Again, Klotho inhibits pathways linked to aging, such as blah, 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 which can induce cellular senescence, aging cells, apoptosis, dying cells, inflammation, immune dysfunction, fibrosis, and neoplasia, which is, neoplasia is like a precancerous condition. It also increases cell-protective antioxidant enzymes through these things, modulating immune responses. So that's all really good. Metabolic health and insulin sensitivity. So now here we go to diabetes, which is, again, one of our major chronic illnesses today. Low Klotho is associated with insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. Increasing Klotho improves glucose metabolism, enhances insulin sensitivity, and may help prevent metabolic disorders. So that's kind of the way I think of it. Like, this is all well and good if somebody already has these conditions. To boost Klotho would be a helpful thing to do, but how much better to say, hey, Klotho levels coming down are one of the things that happen as I age. So what can I do to support that pathway to health, that pathway to anti-aging? And that way I have more armor already against the things I'm already doing proactively to prevent myself from getting type 2 diabetes, such as dietary things or certain supplements, healthful living, whatever it takes to intercept that in the first place. So it doesn't even knock on your door. So you're not even going to have these degenerative chronic conditions even asking to take place in your body, because you just haven't allowed the stage to be set for that particular illness to come on stage. So that's the beautiful thing about prevention. And that's the exciting thing about what I do and what you're doing. Those of you who are employing things, healthful living and healthful know-how to prevent disease in the first place. That's far better. And it's wonderful that we can use things like this when disease already exists. But how much better when it just doesn't even doesn't even want to bother with you. Okay, skin health and aging. So low Klotho. I didn't even ask how to pronounce it, but Klotho, that's probably it. Contributes to premature skin aging, loss of elasticity, and impaired wound healing. Increased Klotho may enhance skin regeneration, protect against oxidative damage, and support collagen production. So a lot of people interested in that. It's one thing we all hate if we age, is if our skin begins to experience those effects, and we don't like that because we see that in the mirror. We might not see, that we've got it. We might not be able to see it. We might be able to kind of ignore that we're trending towards type 2 diabetes or cardiovascular disease, but we can really see it on our skin. We can't avoid that. So anyway, again, potential therapeutic target in aging and neurodegenerative diseases. We've looked at that one already, but with regard to the skin, it says Klotho deficiency is associated with reduced growth and diminished longevity, which can manifest in skin aging. Enhancing Klotho levels could offer therapeutic benefits in mitigating age-related skin changes. So when it comes to the lungs, low Klotho is correlated with pulmonary fibrosis, COPD, and other chronic lung diseases. Increased Klotho may protect against lung inflammation and improve respiratory function. So definitely a lot of lung problems out there today. A lot of people have COPD, a lot of people have asthma, more and more, it seems. And pulmonary fibrosis is very dangerous. That's, again, the hardening, kind of making your lungs like a fibrous shell. So when it comes to the lung health, Klotho inhibits pathways such as this and beta kappa, which are involved in inflammation and fibrosis. By modulating these pathways, Klotho may protect against lung diseases characterized by inflammation and fibrosis. And I would also think along the lines of talking about fibrosis, getting back up to the cardiovascular health, because you do actually have in cardiovascular disease, you have the impact of excess fibrin in the blood. And so I would think, we use proteolytic enzymes such as serrapeptase and nattokinase, lumbrokinase to help break bromelain, to help break up excess fibrin, digest excess fibrin, and keep the blood from being too thick and forming clots, et cetera. But it looks like it's certainly not it is a protein, but it's not, it is, it seems to me that if it helps prevent fibrosis of the kidneys and of the lungs, then it probably, and it's good for cardiovascular health, it might have some effect on, as what I would say, a fibrinolytic property. I'll have to look more into that to satisfy, I don't know that you would care, but satisfy my own curiosity. Cancer. So low Klotho allows for increased cellular stress and uncontrolled cell proliferation, potentially raising cancer risks of the over fast production of cells. And then increasing Klotho functions as a tumor suppressor, reducing oxidative stress and inhibiting cancer cell growth. So it may be working by enhancing and increasing a tumor suppressor enzymes such as P53. I would be interested myself to look at that, exactly how it does that. But so again, anti-cancer properties, which is cancer, of course, is another one of the major degenerative diseases of our time. And that comes, we see it at all ages, of course, but even more as people get older and their body systems become more weak. And then lifespan and overall longevity. Low Klotho accelerates aging, increases susceptibility to age-related diseases, and reduces overall lifespan. Increased Klotho extends lifespan in animal studies, delays the aging process, and enhances resilience to age-related decline. Again, the FGF, Klotho endocrine system, has a crucial role in the pathophysiology of aging-related disorders, including diabetes, cancer, atherosclerosis, and chronic kidney disease. Targeting the FGF Klotho endocrine axes might have therapeutic benefits in multiple systems, potentially influencing lifespan and longevity. Now, what are some ways you're like, okay, well, what do I do about that? Is there something I have to take? Is there something I have to do to increase Klotho, or something I can do or can take? Boosting Klotho levels, and that's kind of blurry there, so I actually have a clearer. If you click there, you get a clearer readout. Boosting Klotho levels naturally and through potential interventions is an emerging area of longevity research. Here are some of the best strategies. Exercise. Regular aerobic and resistance training significantly increases Klotho expression, particularly high-intensity interval training, HIIT, and endurance exercise. So remember when I was talking about HIIT, like instead of long-term running on the treadmill, like for an hour and a half, you're doing those spurts of cycling like crazy for like 30 seconds and then, or 30 to 60 seconds, then slow pedal, stationary bike, mind you, slow pedaling for like 75 seconds and repeating that for like up to 6 cycles at a time is the best way to really impact your health with exercise for like the mitochondrial health. And so obviously Klotho is having influence here on mitochondria, and basically anything that's anti-aging does. But that's good to know too. So that type of, particularly that and endurance exercise. So really working your lean muscle mass. Dietary adjustments can be intermittent fasting. Fasting and caloric restriction may upregulate Klotho. So yeah, I said I wanted to do a program on fasting. Maybe I'll do that next week. Like exploring all of the in different kinds of fasts and all that kind of thing. It interests me. But intermittent fasting, and some people do that like on a daily basis, like I only eat 8 hours in a time period, and then I fast the whole rest of the time. And caloric restriction may upregulate Klotho. Now, what's very interesting is caloric restriction and fasting also extend the life of the telomeres of our DNA. So I'll bet you for sure there's a connection between Klotho and telomere longevity. So the longer your telomeres, the longer your lifespan is going to be. And certain things we do that are bad, the telomeres, they shorten the telomeres. Certain things that we do that are good extend the life of the telomeres so that they come back much more slowly. That's anti-aging, right? All about telomere length. Okay. Antioxidant-rich foods. Berries, dark leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale help reduce oxidative stress that suppresses Klotho. But you can do antioxidant, certainly supplements, right? There's a ton of them. And that would be something to add too. Definitely not foregoing the foods, but saying, I want to make sure I get this every day. Healthy fats, omega-3s from fish, flax seeds, and walnuts support Klotho production. Magnesium intake, sufficient levels from nuts, seeds, leafy greens are linked to higher Klotho expression. Magnesium is super important. It's a super important nutrient to make sure we're getting enough of. And most people, if you do not supplement magnesium, you will not get enough. So that's one of those things that everybody really needs to supplement. Quality sleep. Deep restorative sleep enhances Klotho levels and overall brain health. And then stress reduction. Chronic stress and high cortisol levels can suppress Klotho. So meditation, yoga, mindfulness practices may help. Now, that again, how stress makes us sick. Another thing, it is, you've got the high cortisol levels, which can suppress Klotho. And so again, many different avenues that stress has on our bodies. Supplementation and potential interventions. Vitamin D as a co-regulator of calcium metabolism and maintaining optimal D levels support its function. I would also say definitely K2 with that, right? Because you want the K2. You never want vitamin D without K2 because otherwise the calcium's in the soft tissues. Resveratrol, found in grapes and red wine. This polyphenol may help boost Klotho expression through its anti-inflammatory effects. Resveratrol is usually taken as a supplement to make sure you're getting adequate amounts if you want to be sure on a daily basis. Probiotics. Your healthy gut microbiome supports Klotho-related pathways. So fermented foods like kimchi, kefir, and yogurt can also be beneficial. Hormonal balance, growth hormone, and thyroid hormones appear to influence Klotho expression. Keeping hormones in balance through diet and lifestyle is crucial. It's very interesting because I would have to wonder what effect low Klotho. It didn't. I didn't find that in my research, but does low Klotho influence thyroid function, or is it more if your thyroid hormones are out of balance? That's the chicken that comes before the egg, and influences the Klotho expression and diminishing it, if you will. Keeping hormones in balance. And then they do have like metformin as which is used for insulin resistance, and rapamycin. These are experimental, but these are kind of in the research. These longevity drugs show promise in increasing Klotho levels, but more research is needed. Of course, I would much rather not go there myself, but be doing these other things. So that is kind of your Klotho in a nutshell. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more research for myself, and I might bring it up not as like a full program, but just to tag on to this more information. Oh, I know. I wanted to look and see if let me just check this for a second. Whoops. Let me just stop my share for a second. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to see if I go to like Amazon and maybe find like a Klotho. Like somebody may have put together a commercial supplement for supporting Klotho, right? That's kind of just like an all-in-one. Like you would have like a vision supplement or a or a oh, you know what I mean, like just something that's like so let's see. Just see here. I don't see anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. I'm surprised. I would think I think you would just have to say, you know, I just want to make sure I'm covering those bases. If you wanted to like take this from a supplement kind of level, make sure that in your daily, I'm sure that already in my daily supplement regimen, I'm supporting Klotho, and many of you probably are as well. So anyway, that's all I have to say about Klotho. I do, I might just, why don't we just say, if you guys have anything you want to ask me or talk about that is not, that doesn't have to do with, okay. With Klotho, if you want to do anything like that. Oh, my eye, how's my eye? Thank you for asking. So last week I talked about my eye and what I think was related to having, as an aftermath of having had COVID, But I went and I saw my eye doctor on Thursday, and she said, everything looks really good. I still do have that floater, but it's very faint. And there is still sometimes the light that shows the pulling of the vitreous gel. But she said what had happened was it was clinging to the optic nerve, and that it has now like passed on out just in little piece. It's all like that. And she said, like my chances of having any kind of serious problem from this are like 1 in 500. So thank you. Yeah, that was an interesting thing from my scientific sort of mind. I found that really fascinating. And yeah, another thing I wanted to tell you is so I make a formula called Shrink That Thing, which is a liquid formula for hemorrhoids. And Shrink That Thing has become super popular because somebody stumbled on it and they posted it in a Reddit thread. And so people from all over the country and all over the world, I've sent this to Singapore, to Denmark, England many times, Canada for sure. So Shrink That Thing is a very simple formula. It's fractionated coconut oil and potassium iodide. And it works, but it works really amazingly. And I found out about this when I was when I was talking to Raymond Elias one time years ago, who was a big iodine. If you guys remember Raymond, he's been on my program, was on the radio. He speaks with a British accent. He's from Canada. He always calls it iodine. And he mentioned something about it, and I looked it up, and I cannot for the life of me find whatever information it was I found at that point in time, but it prompted me to make this simple formula. But it worked. I had somebody, I wanted to use it on right away because of his horrible hemorrhoids. And so we found out it worked. And then it just works. It works. It works. It works. It works. And so we do a lot of that. But a few people have complained because it's a liquid and it comes in like a dropper bottle, like my, like my liquid things. So it's kind of like you have to either like drop it on a cotton ball or try to put it on your fingers, but it's just not ideal delivery. So I had probably the third person to mention that emailed me that it was a little awkward to try to put it on. So I decided to put it into a cream form, which Dale whipped up for me this past week. And so now I'm actually going to go get a jar because I want to show it to you because I'm really happy with it. You can see it's kind of hard to see there, but you can see how nice it holds. And it's just really silky and beautiful. I made sure there's no dilution because I'm using even a stronger percentage of iodine now in both formulas than I did before, but it's fine. But it certainly will work. But anyway, Shrink That Thing, the cream. So I'm really excited about that. And then on the formulating end of things, remember I told you about the nerve restore formula that I was making with DMSO, specifically for the nerves. Well, I've been getting really good feedback on that. I still don't have it on my website yet. I've made a few batches and people have used it sort of like in the trial sort of period of that, but it's been really, really excellent. It's what Kathy was using to help, Dr. Kathy, to help with her facial paralysis after the stroke. But then I have somebody who has had nerve pain in this area. It's not trigeminal neuralgia that she has, but nerve pain. And she said that's worked really great for that. But she has had a really bad knee that she's had to have. They've wanted to give her, shots and stuff like that. And she was on medication. I didn't really think of it as for like a knee because I think of it more as a nerve thing. But of course, there's nerves in the knee. And there's also DMSO in this formula and other things, but there's vitamin B's, the B vitamins and everything, alpha lipoic acid. But anyway, she tried it on her knee and she said that worked fabulously. And then, so now I am thinking that it might work as an eardrop for tinnitus. Wouldn't that be something? Because, and I looked, and you can use DMSO, diluted DMSO in the ear. And of course, I will try it in my own ear first. I don't have tinnitus, but make sure that there's no like bad feeling or anything. I can't imagine it. There's no reason there should, but I always just do that. What did I want to say? That could possibly work because tinnitus is nerve related. And I'm thinking if you could kind of bathe that area with high dose palmitoyl ethanolamide, lipoic acid, vitamin B12, vitamin B1, vitamin B6, all have to do with nerve health. So I'm really excited about that. So watch for that coming up. And then this week, one of my clients had a problem, told me he had a problem with chilblains on his toes. So chilblains is like your circulation isn't where it should be, and your toes get really cold, and then they can get not blistery, but red and swollen, and that's chilblains. Chilblains is like one of those old timey, like rheumatism, right? Like one of those old timey disease descriptions or whatever. So then I thought it would be nice to have a topical that you could put on, like for Raynaud's phenomenon. Like if any of you have Raynaud's or know somebody who does, a very painful condition, autoimmune, oftentimes related to, well, I won't go into all the details of Raynaud's, but Raynaud's is your hands, the circulation, especially when it's cold and they hurt and all of that. So I thought I would come up with a topical for Raynaud's and chilblains. So I would think that this would be good for poor circulation in the hands, the feet, the extremities, probably would be very good for like the lower legs, all of that kind of thing. But so that has in it, so I took olive oil because olive oil is very good for circulation in itself with its anti-inflammatory properties. So that's what I used, extra virgin olive oil, to extract different plants that are very excellent for circulation. So those are ginger, cinnamon, butcher's broom, horse chestnut, bilberry. What else is in there? I think there's something else. But anyway, these are warming herbs that really help stimulate circulation, and they help with vascular integrity as well, for help for your veins. And then also, so to this oil, so I heated it all up and got it all extracting yesterday morning, and now it's sitting there in the lab, and it's gonna just sit there. I'll give it a nice stir, it's gonna sit there and just really infuse all those herbs into the olive oil over the weekend. Then I will take the oil and I'm going to add DMSO. DMSO is huge for help with circulation. And emu oil, which also is anti-inflammatory, and some magnesium chloride which all of these, honestly, this should be a really stellar circulatory topical, which I'm very excited about, you can tell, because I've never really thought about doing that before, and why not? And so anyway, I'll let you know when that's available. Hopefully I'll have that, well, that's going to be done this week. So I just have to get that, and I have to get the Nerve Restore up on my website. So it just involves creating labels, official labels, and then letting people know it's there. So anyway, I think that's all I really have to say. If anybody has anything else you want to say before we close, let me know. Every time I do that, I can't see. Why can't I see? Oh, there we go. Cindy Tucker, this week I was finding out info about molecular hydrogen and support for brain health and mitochondria health. Is it good? I don't know. I don't know about molecular hydrogen, so that's a good question for me to look at. And benfotiamine cured my Raynaud's, Dr. Kathy is saying, cured. So benfotiamine is great. I've not really thought of it as a Raynaud's cure. So isn't that interesting? Maybe I am putting benfotiamine in my nerve restore formula now. And maybe I'll add it to the circulation formula. I'll have to look at the link there, but that's really interesting. Wow, good thinking. Look at you guys. You're all geeks like me. Yeah, yeah. Cindy in her off time is like researching molecular hydrogen. And good. And Dr. Kathy knows all about benfotiamine for Raynaud's. So that's good. We're keeping each other sharp. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, however you're going to spend it. And we'll be back next week. I think I will go into the fasting thing because there's a lot I'd like to know about it. And then as I satisfy my curiosity, then I can satisfy yours. I think everybody kind of is a little bit wondering because a lot of people swear by it. It's good for your health. And a lot of us just don't want to do it. Right. So we'll look at all sides. Anyway, so thank you too. And hyperbaric oxygen therapy for sure. Excellent for things like that. In fact, really excellent for, I would say definitely Raynaud's would respond very well to that. Also neuropathies of very different kinds do. In fact, had a man in to pick up some things. He's not a, yes, it's excellent for stroke, but Kathy, I thought you said you couldn't get it. Oh, and my guy who does Kathy, my guy, Joe Mabe, who has the hyperbaric oxygen tanks up here. I asked him if he knew of anybody who had that in your area, and he doesn't. But yes, definitely for stroke. And I talked to him about that. I know you can't get, he does hyperbaric oxygen, but it's not just oxygen, it's the full air complex, if you will. But they do, yeah, they do it in Fairfield. Will they do it for stroke? I'm just asking Kathy. She's typing. Dr. Kathy is the one, guys, that had a stroke a few months ago. There's one in Central Ohio, but it's super expensive, non-hospital. Okay, yeah, but this one is, do you have access to that, Kathy? You're not that far from Fairfield, for heaven's sakes. It was in Fairfield that I first met you. Yes, okay, good. That's fantastic. Let me know how it helps. Did want to say that, Kathy, I know you don't mind if I share this, but Kathy went to 400, 700. Are you talking about the, well, I'm not sure what the 400, 700 is, but anyway, in the meantime, the treatment is called 400, 700, but it's a HBOT treatment, right? It's hyperbaric oxygen. That's fantastic that you can get that, because that should really boost you along. Oh, the cost. Oh, per treatment is going to cost you that much. Yeah. Well, it's stroke recovery, and I know that how important that is to you. So hopefully you can do that, because that would be great. But what was I saying? Oh, Kathy's recent appointment with a neurologist. The neurologist believes that her stroke was caused by, she had dental work done that week, right? But she thinks that it was the bacteria that was going on in those things that needed dental work that actually incited the stroke itself. So that's really fascinating when you think about it, because we know that oral health is so important to many other areas of health. And Kathy's taken great care of her teeth through the years, but she's had problems. and, over problems and, infected root canal. Okay, that's what it was, an infected root canal. So I would honestly say that that would go into my program on the dangers of root canals in the first place, because root canals are divorced from the bloodstream, so that if you're taking antibiotics or things, you can't treat an infection in a root canal. And so she has this root, and Dr. May says, look into ozone therapy. And I think she's talking about for the stroke. But anyway, so she had this infected root canal. I always warn people about getting root canals in the first place because of these problems. But wow. And to think that that could actually result in a stroke, a major stroke, one day after the extraction. Wow. Wow. It's very sobering. It's very sobering. It's a very sad lesson. It's a very serious, tragic, horrible lesson to way to find that thing out. But wow, we just pray, Kathy, for your full recovery and that you're going to be back to your usual spunky self sooner than later. But just don't give up. I know you're working really hard in your rehab, and we're all pulling for you here. We definitely are. Okay, so good conversation, everybody. Again, have a wonderful weekend. Be well, and we'll be back together next week. Take care.